Welcome, everyone, to the Bite and Click podcast. My name is Caleb.
And my name is Greg.
And we are going to talk about your favorite video games. Grab a pint of your favorite drink, find a nice, comfy chair, and break out that D20 as we dive into this.
Caleb,
Yeah.
you've picked the perfect introduction this week.
Have I?
I'm going to have no small talk. Jump right into it. Last week, I played D&D with ChatGPT.
Oh my god.
This is actually a TED Talk.
Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know. You know what? I should have known you could do that. I don't know why I thought you couldn't do that. But yeah, you can absolutely do that.
I saw a thing on Reddit. Like, it gave you the whole prompt and whatnot.
Interesting.
And I played Dungeons and Dragons with a robot.
So I want you to get into some details. But before you do, let me just ask you the overall question. Was it good?
To a certain extent.
Oh, that is how it goes with AI things.
Mm-hmm. The real thing, the funny part is I was actually the dungeon master. I actually had the robot live out its wildest dreams of being a cleric.
That's awesome.
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, because I bet there is a way you could do that to be the dungeon master and
absolutely.
And like railroad an AI bot on a quest of your own fuckery.
That would be an interesting like follow-up to try.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I found a prompt on Reddit that a guy or someone was using to play D&D with a robot, with a ChatGPT. And I won't pull up the whole log and go through like, line by line. I'm just going to kind of go from memory about it. But basically, I started and I came upon a hooded gentleman who was like, hey, I have an adventure, or I have a task for you to take this thing back that these people stole, and it'll grant you a bunch of money. And I said, well, is it enough money to save my dying wife? Because I'm a real good storyteller. And he said, yes, it'll be enough to save your dying wife. And so I said, okay. And then the one of the things was I was very investigative. I wanted to make sure there were no secret trickery afoot as I was going on my journey.
Did you do a little perception check?
I did a little perception check.
Oh my god.
There were other similarly hooded figures, and I was like, well, so I confronted the guy, and basically he was like, oh, no, they're just my pals. They're keeping me safe, and shoot them away. And basically went on, did the thing, and I snuck into the cave where the bandits were, took their treasure, or took what they stole, and went back. And that was a little rudimentary, a little basic, but what followed was even more basic.
Oh.
Because then it was like, once I got back, it was like, well, what do you want to do next? And I thought it'd be interesting to really test this system. And so what I did was like, well, okay, I want to become politically powerful in my town and see what, just to see what happens, how it adapted to that. And it basically was just like, well, you did it and everyone loves you and you're blah, blah, blah. And so it basically got into a loop of just saying, like, instead of prompting me to engage in interactions or do anything of the sort, it basically just said, like, well, and you did that and it was great. And then you did that. And so it kind of got in a recursory like loop of like not actually really doing much gameplay and a little bit more of just like, well, what do you want to do? And then you did it type thing.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that sounds a lot better than I figured it would be. I don't know if you've ever used it. There's an app and like an overall website, I think, called AI Dungeon.
Yo, yeah.
That shit sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been able to like do a full anything on AI Dungeon.
Yeah, it's
every single time I try it, I get to a point where it either exactly what you said, does what just lets me do what I want and no longer prompts me to do anything else. And then sometimes I get to a point where like I'll say, oh, okay, I want to shoot a bow, and then it just doesn't fucking understand that, and it'll say like, you shoot at a bow and miss, and like it's not what I typed. It's it's pretty nuts. So it's cool to hear that you had at least somewhat of a successful basic quest.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, and a big takeaway from it for me was like it's interesting, like you said, like that AI dungeon really can like misinterpret what you're saying.
Yep.
That is one problem I did not have with the Chat GPT dungeon master, if you will, where like it knew what I wanted to do. It even let me like, because what I did was when I snuck into the cave, basically I snuck in, was in and pretended like I was I was an associate of the person they were selling the crown or whatever to, and it like really it was very like it understood what I wanted it to let me do.
That's awesome.
One thing I do question is I don't think anything I did failed. You know, like, so I'm like, I wonder how much of like when it did any sort of checks or anything, it was actually doing any of that versus just letting me do things.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because that's like a big part of the intrigue of D&D is like if you fail something, you can get yourself into some hairy situations.
Oh yeah,
into some Harry Potters.
Yeah, and you know, I just want to point out, won't be funny for any of our listeners, but it's very funny to me that during your D&D quest, you wanted to become politically powerful, because I do recall a time when we once all played D&D where you did become mayor.
I think there may have been some inspiration in what in my actions in this D&D that were taken from a former session we played.
Yeah.
Now,
no, go ahead.
I was going to transition. So, what do you guys say?
Oh no, I was going to say I think it's pretty obvious. At some point, we'll have to do a little point and click rolls the dice. You know,
yes. Without a Chat GPT AI.
Hopefully without
Dungeon Master. Wow, I really got tripped up on my acronyms there. But Caleb, what I wanted to ask you was, did you play any electronically based Dungeon and Dragons related games this week?
Oh, you know I did. Sorry, hang on. A little far from the mic. My cat's just going nuts over here. You know I did, Greg. You know I did. We had a beautiful release of a beautiful game called Baldur's Gate 3. Let me tell you, I've been playing it in early access, and it's been fine. It's been a little buggy. And I had, you know, I got to the point where like it told me like, okay, that's it for early access. And admittedly, it wasn't super far into the game. So I didn't really know what to expect from this full release. And I can't quite remember if I ever talked about Baldur's Gate on this podcast before. I don't think I have though.
Not
I know
at
I
any
talked
length.
about. Yeah, I know I've talked about Divinity. I brought that one time, which is made by the same people. Same kind of game, but Baldur's Gate is like Divinity to an extreme. For anyone that doesn't know what Baldur's Gate is, it's essentially a Dungeons and Dragons video game. It is made for Dungeons and Dragons by for whatever you want to say. It's Dungeons and Dragons, using all of the same races, all of the same mechanics. It's so far into the Dungeons and Dragons plot that or I guess I should say like rules or something, that like depending on what you want to do, you roll a die to do it. In fact, everything is pretty much done rolling a die, like an actual D20 that you roll virtually. You watch the die roll virtually. I love it. I don't even need to lie to you, Greg. When we did my Steam list on like my top most played games, it didn't even touch the 10. All right, wasn't even part of the 10. Greg, it is now number 6 on my most played Steam game.
Dang, that's like a quick rise.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't play Steam a ton, and when I do, it's usually the same like 5 games.
Right.
So the fact that it beat enough to get to 6 doesn't say a whole lot, but it does say something. Yeah, I love it. It's just amazing. Everything about it is Dungeons and Dragons. It's fun. All of the characters in the game feel alive and interesting. Yeah, you roll a d20 to do actions. And like you brought up with your D&D, success is fun, but so is failure. And like it's kind of part of what makes the experience. you gain, just like in Dungeons and Dragons, you gain like inspiration and stuff for doing certain actions, which essentially lets you re-roll the die if you fail or something. Even with inspiration, sometimes I'll just let the die fall, and if I fail, I'll just continue with a fail. I have the ability to re-roll, but sometimes I'm like, it's going to be way more interesting to see what happens if I let this fail, so I want to see what that does. And it's nuts, and like, oh god, so much of the game is just interactive. So before I continue on, I want to share a little tidbit with you, Greg, of when I thought failure was actually kind of cool. There's a point in the game, without any spoilers or anything. There's a point in the game where a woman is being held captive by a hag, which is like an old lady, an old creature wizard. And there's a point during the fight with this hag to free this young lady, where she uses magic to turn herself into the young lady and to bring the young lady out of the cage and like kind of do a little jumble. So it puts you in a position where now there's two of the young lady. You don't know which is which. You got to attack one of them, or I guess you can wait it out. I made the choice. I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna attack one of these ladies and hope it's the hag. It wasn't. It was not the hag. I fucking killed that woman with one bow shot and immediately was like, well, I could quit and load the game, or I could take this as like a building moment for my character and like go through with it. So for the sake of story, I thought, you know what? This is a good lesson. Maybe don't take the shot next time. So
don't be so overconfident.
Pretty much. So yeah, I let it happen, and then after killing the hag and stuff, I went over to the woman's corpse, and I found that if she dies, you can pick up her locket. I don't know if the locket is related to any quest or anything, but I immediately saw that and I was like, my character is going to carry this for the rest of the game now. This is a constant reminder that maybe you don't take the shot. So yeah, I just thought it was fun. Like small things like that where like that quest overall doesn't have any impact on the main story. It doesn't matter if I did that quest or skipped it, but the fact that I did it and the fact that this woman died all just kind of builds to what I want my character to be, or maybe what I don't want my character to be, and it's just things that I'm going with still. It's the whole game is like that. And going back to what I said earlier, like everything is interactive. Just recently, I was playing just before we started this podcast. I can't believe it. I found a body just out in the wild in the game, and I thought, like, I have a scroll that lets me talk to the dead. I could use it on this body, and there's a chance that maybe the body has nothing to say. Maybe I'll use it and I'll waste it, or maybe it's got something to say. So I decided to go for it. I used the scroll, and sure enough, the body told me all about my current objective and what I needed to do. It was wild, and like that's something that you could easily miss if you don't have a scroll to talk to the dead. Or if you don't have a spell to do so or something, you're missing that. You're absolutely not going to be able to do that. And so stuff like that is wild. And like there's animals all over the map, and I play a ranger in Baldur's Gate. And so one of my perks is I get to speak with animals. So talking to the animals, that's something that you're probably not going to do in most other classes and stuff. So it's just interesting things like that just keep the game going and like keep everything feeling fresh. There's always a million secrets for you to discover, and in true D&D fashion, it's all about how you want to discover them.
This really goes to an ideal thing about Dungeons and Dragons that is harder to capture in a video game, but is really would be something that I would love to see done really well, and that is there being like no fail state. So many games, and it makes sense when you look at the evolution of like how we interact with video games from Pong to now. Like it makes sense that there has to be fail states because computers can't just be dynamic enough to like account for every action that might happen like that. But in your example of how you shot the wrong lady and you thought about resetting to do it differently, or just continuing.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, the concept of a game where like the decisions you make can be the wrong ones, but they don't doom you to either a game over or feeling like you're going to get the wrong ending or the bad outcome of it, you know?
Yeah.
I think it'd be really great if we could successfully get a game that, or rather, get a game that successfully does this. That like you can have the bad things happen, but you don't feel like you're doomed to the bad ending.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you. I'll be the first to admit, like Baldur's Gate 3 isn't the 100% best example of that, but it's definitely like a huge step in that direction. There's so much you can do in Baldur's Gate where you're probably you might be doing the wrong thing in that moment or the wrong thing, even knowingly. Maybe you want to do the wrong thing and stuff, but like there's a lot of depth to Baldur's Gate, and there's not a lot of situations where what you do is going to stop the story, um, or even stop the story you want to create. Like, I mean, going back to it, like doing that quest, I didn't fail that quest for the lady dying.
Right, and that's exactly what I mean. Like, pardon me, some video games you do something the way they don't want you to, Rockstar games, and they stop you where you are and put you back where they want you to try again.
Yep. And again, that's another cool thing about Baldur's Gate is like the game's way of stopping you a lot of times is just throwing some difficult checks at you. But even then, you can beat those checks. Like if you want to do something and like you can tell like, yeah, this probably isn't what like the developers had in mind that players should do. But even then, like still, they'll throw a little perception check at you or something, and bam, you can still beat it and still do what you want to do. And yeah, it's nuts. I super enjoy Baldur's Gate. I love it. Everything about it has been fun. This is the first game in a while that's like held my attention this much. Like I don't even feel close to being done with the game yet. Not even a part of me wants to stop playing it. And that's partially because I enjoy the story. It's partially because I enjoy talking to the NPCs and learning about the world and their lives and stuff. And it's also partially because I think the gameplay loop of which if you can even call it a loop, but the gameplay of doing what you want and feeling like you're, I mean, for lack of better words, you feel like you're playing D&D, which I understand it is, but I just mean like the closest form of Dungeons and Dragons in a video game is 100% Baldur's Gate 3 without a doubt in my mind. It is amazing.
I'm excited. I will definitely pick this game up at some point. I'm always looking for that like video game D&D experience done well.
Oh yeah.
The one that I was hoping would get me more and kind of wasn't able to on that front is Wildermyth.
Oh, interesting. I've never heard of that.
It's actually procedurally generated story wise, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's just something. I think it's the fact that it's not like. I think procedural generation actually holds it back from being what I want it to be.
Interesting.
I would like it to actually have a little more hands-on human touch in specifically the voice acting or any voice acting to make it feel more immersive. I think is a big reason that game doesn't get me.
Yeah.
But it's also really big, right? Like it's a big game.
Baldur's Gate?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's massive. So the first act alone, which is like, I mean, that's all of the and I'm serious, all of the early access content was limited to Act 1. Just Act 1, if I'm right about this. I'm 99% sure it was just Act 1. And in Act 1, I spent about probably like 15 hours just doing things, just doing quests that I found, exploring, and like the map's huge, and there are fast travel points to get you from place to place, which do help. But you also don't want to do them a ton. You also kind of want to go and experience everything by walking and seeing what you can see. And yeah, I mean, I'm still like realizing how big the game is as I'm going on playing it. I've only recently entered Act Two, and it's insane. Whole new map and like, oh god, it's big.
So that was we'll chalk that one up to a lack of clarity in my language. I was talking size wise, file size wise.
Oh, my bad.
No, hey, again, that was really my lack of clarity in communication.
Yeah, it's a massive game. It's like what shit. I had it downloaded in early access, and then they did the full release, and I got this huge update. The update alone, with the game already being installed for me, the update for full access was over 80 something gigabytes.
Yeah, that's just
it
wild.
Was insane, yeah.
I think my biggest concern is really like if I'm going to play this game, it's going to be on the Steam Deck. And my biggest concern is if a game is that big, file size wise, is it going to be a complete drain on my Steam Deck battery?
Yeah.
So I mean, I could do the research and find out if that's the case before instead of just like speculating, but that is my speculation at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I play it on PC. I love it on PC. I think it feels like what the game was built for, but I honestly don't think controlling it with like a controller or something on console would be that bad. The menus are pretty easy to navigate and like not super convoluted, so like I don't feel like it necessarily makes me any faster in the menu using a mouse than it would to just like scroll over with a stick or a numpad or something. Um, so yeah, I would recommend it on whatever system you feel like you want to play it the most on.
Now, Caleb, you had to have known when you brought this subject to the table. I have to ask the question. I would be, I would be failing in my journalistic integrity if I didn't ask this question. Have you fucked the bear yet?
I have not.
God,
no,
Caleb.
I have not fucked the bear.
Unreal.
I know the bear's in my party, or I should say in my camp. There's just a quick thing to mention. There's tons of companions in the game, more than I thought there would be, honestly, and there still could be more, or maybe I found all of them now. I'm not entirely sure. Also, pretty cool. Just want to throw this out there too. You can kill your companions if you want the story to shake up a little bit. You don't have to invite all of these people to travel with you, and in fact, you can start fights with them and fucking kill them. There's one companion who, and for sake of spoilers and stuff, I won't say much else. But there's this one companion who is kind of who's pretty aggressive towards you throughout the whole beginning of the game. This companion does not like you. Well, I decided pretty early on I don't care about this companion. So at one point, the companion got stuck in a cage, and I left the companion there. Just completely left the companion there and then went on my way. And believe it or not, that was not the last time I saw the companion.
That's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I thought he was just going to be like, I don't care about this companion, and I fought it to the death. But locking it in a cage is so much better.
And then seeing it later on, seeing the companion later on, the story brought the companion. I didn't think I'd ever see the companion again, and then bam, all of a sudden there's the companion.
That's
and if I went back to the area where the cage was, and to make sure that maybe the game, I thought maybe the game glitched, maybe the companion is still in the cage. Nope, cage door had been busted open.
Whoa, that's so good. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, it's so good.
Wow. Okay, one question I have to ask because it crossed my mind is I've avoided a lot of information about this game, kind of under the guise of I'll probably play it at some point, so I'll find out. But what is the combat in this game?
It is it's so okay. So the combat, and I'm gonna say this, and I feel like everybody, including myself, if I hadn't played the game, feel like everybody is going to roll their eyes and be like, "Oh, really?" But I promise you, it's the best way possible. It's your standard turn-based combat, um, but or I should say, it's turn-based combat, not your standard. Not this ain't your dad's turn-based combat, Greg. Um, this is it's more of like a tactical turn-based. It uses all of the D&D structures of combat. So there are advantages over enemies you can get based on your location. It takes into account all of that. So if you're on higher ground, you have a bonus towards your attack. Specifically, if you're doing like a ranged attack or something, you have a bonus to that because you have higher ground. If you're lower ground, you have a disadvantage because you're shooting uphill instead of down. Um, it's turn based. There's movement though. You move your character all around the map. Also, my favorite part is that the map doesn't change. There's no screen that takes you to some pre-drawn battlefield. It's all in the world you are in. So if you get into a fight, all of a sudden the game is going to go from being straightforward, like, no time delay. It's just you moving your character around. It's going to go from that into turn-based mode, which then initiates combat. And in combat, you're in turn-based. You do the classic roll for initiative and stuff. You don't do that, I guess. The game does that for you. But yeah, so it's kind of like that. But it is cool though, and I'm glad you brought my attention to it. Because the turn-based mode isn't just used for combat. There's instances when you're roaming around the map where a trap will trigger, but before it triggers, you get a reaction, just like in Dungeons and Dragons, where the game will stop and it'll put you into turn-based mode. And then I think sometimes it might tell you how many turns before the trap, or I could be thinking of Divinity in that regard. But either way, it doesn't tell you what the trap is. So you have to guess based on, whatever's happening around you, what trap you might have just set off, and you get to move the characters around to get them out of this trap. But you do it in a turn-based mode where after that turn the trap triggers. It's so fun, and it puts you in the shoes of it puts you more in the shoes of an adventurer than say like Skyrim would, where your companion runs over a button and all of a sudden you're getting clapped with a log swinging down from the ceiling. Like, there are traps that trigger just by you walking over them and stuff, and there's not always reactions and stuff. But when there are, it feels amazing, and it's good. So overall, yeah, combat's turn-based, but the best turn-based I have played personally.
Interesting. I'm excited to pick this game up at some point.
You'll love it. I think you'll love it.
Now, which cat did we just get a cameo from?
That was Luna.
Nice.
My black and white. Whoa. Okay. Hey, easy, bud. Get off. Oh. Whoa. Wow. Really wanted to get on that laptop.
Really wanted to unplug the microphone. Yeah. So Caleb, Friday night, me and Gabby went to a comedy show by a young man called Joe Pera. Have you heard of Joe Pera?
No, I don't know. The name sounds really familiar.
So Joe Pera is a comedian. He has a show on Adult Swim, which can also be found on Max. It's called Joe Pera Talks with You.
Okay, I 100% know what this is. Yep.
If you haven't seen Joe Pera Talks with You, you need to see Joe Pera Talks with You. It's like wholesome, calm, low stakes comedy. It's so funny. I mean, it's funny in like the most chill way. It's kind of just absurd, but it just kind of keeps rolling past its own jokes. It doesn't really make any effort to like stick a joke and then look at the camera and laugh. It's very just kind of rolls with it and is very wholesome. But we saw Joe Pera in Portland on a Friday. Before the show, we had poke bowls at this place, and then we went to...
I believe it's a Pokeball, actually.
Yeah, you press the middle button to go to sleep.
Oh my god. Cat, stop. I'm sorry. My cat just tried to hang herself. She just wrapped a cord around her neck. Jesus. Okay.
This Luna break was brought to you by microphone cables.
Oh no, that's a laptop charging cable right there.
Yeah, we went to Arcadia in Portland, Caleb.
Okay.
Arcadia is in what used to be the Port City Music Hall down there, and it is a arcade combined with a bar.
Nice.
It's a cool little place. I'll have to take you down there sometime, Caleb. Get you a soda pop.
I know. I'd love to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My neighbor is just playing music. I don't know if you can pick up on that.
It's coming through really clear.
Bound to happen at some point. This is the mess episode right here. We started out so good in like the first 35 minutes, but all of a sudden things are just really bad.
That sounds like some early 2000s too.
Oh,
is that what it is?
You know it is. Nice. Anyway, well, there's no stopping this, so I might as well just keep going. Basically, Arcadia has a bunch of pinball, has a bunch of old machines, new machines, everything. It's a really cool place. My favorite thing that they had was a Pong table. It was like a combination of like those old Pac-Man tables where you sit down and it's under the glass and you play Pac-Man. You ever seen those?
Oh yeah, yep.
And the other part is like those magnetic hockey tables. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it was like under glass, and you had the Pong setup, and you had these dials that you would use to control your Pong paddles, and the magnets would just bounce the ball or the Pong ball around, and you have to play Pong, and it was really cool and really quite the fun little machine.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was a really fun modern piece of arcade wonder.
Greg, can we cut to the per mic?
Yes, please. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Nice.
Wow, I liked that.
Yeah.
Another cool thing they had at Arcadia was they had air hockey, but instead of it being like an eye-shaped table, normal hockey table, air hockey table shaped,
it
was a V. So you're standing next to your opponent.
Oh my god, I
hitting
love
it off of the far wall and bouncing it and trying to angle it to get it past them into their goal.
Oh my god.
That was really cool.
Dude, can you imagine the air hockey tournaments there? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I love it.
My 3 favorite pinball tables I played. Number 3, the Beatles ping pong.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Number 2 was Weird Al ping pong. I mean, I keep saying ping pong, but it's pinball.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
And then number 1, the Scooby-Doo pinball was really good.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
The Scooby-Doo one had like video screen right under it.
Yep.
So like that might have been the Weird Al one, but the Weird Al one had a video screen right under it, so it was like changing scenery as you went instead of just being like a bunch of little set pieces.
Oh, that's awesome.
It also had 2 different buttons on each side for the upper and lower paddles.
Oh yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
Dude, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the Scooby-Doo one has an LED screen where if you get a score of over 5,000, you get to watch Shaggy light up a blunt.
I can't believe you know that, Caleb. You're a little bit of a pinball wizard, if I do say so myself.
Oh man.
I will say that Gabby won at skee ball. She earned that victory.
Nice.
And I know the biggest thing you're wondering, since I am the founder and CEO of the what's the name of my segment? Refreshment Roundup. That's the one.
Dude, good segment.
Yeah,
I'm glad you.
It's my favorite segment. As the founder and CEO of the Refreshment Roundup, I'm sure everyone's dying to know what I had for beverages at Arcadia?
Water.
Water. I was drinking on the cheap that night. I had a mojito.
Oh.
Which was very good, very minty, and I had a nitro-infused Cosmopolitan.
Ooh.
It had some very herbal notes to it, and it was mind-blowingly good. Like I was like, wow! Every time I took a sip, I'm like, yeah, I really like this to Gabby, and I was just like, I was a big fan.
Interesting. Sounds delightful.
Yes. Now, Caleb, I have a question. I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
First one I want to know is another game that was at Arcadia that I want to know if you've ever played. Have you seen the ones where it's it's like the 3 basketball hoops, like 1, 2, 3, and then the big basketball on the table, and you punch the basketball and it shoots basketballs towards the hoop, and you got to score as many points as you can?
Well, Greg, I need to know though. Is it the basketball hoop like 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3?
No, 1, 2, 3. They're all uniform.
Okay.
They're cascading.
Okay. No, I have no clue what the hell you're talking about.
So good, Caleb.
Okay.
And then my next question for you is, what if you were the owner of your own video game bar, what games are in it?
Okay. Gotta have air hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have air hockey. Mm-hmm. As you know, Greg, I'm a fan of air hockey. I tell you what, I know it might be old school or it might just be for old people. I don't know. I don't know what's still being played by the kids today. I'd have foosball in it. Gotta have some foosball. And then, I'm not entirely sure. For funsies, I would probably throw in some. Oh my God, cat, you gotta sit still, bud. There we go. I'd probably throw in some for funsies. I'd throw in some DDR.
Yep.
Man, what else? Yeah.
Any like NES games that may have started as I know you're a big NES kind of guy.
Well, Greg, I didn't know we were going that route with it. Oh, of course.
Well, Donkey Kong
everything
was one that was there, and that game was made for the NES after, I think.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm still yet to play Donkey Kong at an arcade.
Caleb,
that is on my bucket list.
Sometime in the next couple of months, we got to go down to Arcadia.
We definitely do.
Yeah,
we definitely do. Maybe we'll do some boot scooting and boogieing. Yep.
That's exactly what we'll be doing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Greg, I wanted to ask you. This is really the only other thing I brought to this episode. Rockstar just announced Red Dead Redemption for the Nintendo Switch and modern PlayStation consoles. Did you hear about this?
I only heard like PlayStation 4, I feel like, but I didn't look super hard, so I may have said like 4 and 5.
So it's 4, but 5 through backwards compatibility.
Right. Got
what they said. So not actually coming to 5 on its own, which is fine. I don't care about that. I'll play whatever. The real bummer about it is that it's not remastered. It is not a remake. It is just a straight port.
Yep. Hey, you can't have your cake and eat it too, Caleb.
That is true. No, I'm honestly though, I'm kind of okay with this. I love Red Dead 1, and I don't think it matters to me really if it gets remade or anything. The fact that I can finally play it on a platform that I still use is pretty much the only part of this I really care about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% going to be buying it. And if it was any other game that like is already on stores or was on stores or something, then I would say like, no, I don't need another copy of Grand Theft Auto 5, But whereas Red Dead 1, they took it off of like PlayStation Now and stuff. This is pretty much the only way you can get it on your PS4. And I want it. I don't play my PlayStation 3. In fact, I don't even have it in the house anymore.
You keep it out in the yard.
I keep it out in the doghouse.
It's been bad.
Yeah. So I will be getting it. I'm excited for it. I don't know about that Switch version. Who knows? Maybe it'll be amazing. But
well, you gotta figure the Nintendo Switch is about 2 generations behind on hardware capabilities. It'll probably run great.
oh, I don't doubt it'll run great. I just like I feel like a lot of times they gotta dumb down some graphics. And I know Red Dead 1 is PlayStation 3, and in theory, I think the Switch has better graphics than that. But I don't know, my man. If you're taking it on the go in a handheld form, I I would be afraid that the already very blocky PS3 John Marston would look oh so blockier. But
You know, Caleb, Take It on the Run by REO Speedwagon was actually written about playing Red Dead Redemption on the Nintendo Switch.
they knew. They knew.
Great foresight, that band.
Yeah. So yeah, do you think you'll be checking it out on any of those consoles?
No, I have it through backwards compatibility on the Xbox if I want to jump back in at any point.
That's true.
Yeah. Exciting game though. Like, I mean, like it's a game that deserves to be preserved in any way it can be. It's a solid game.
Oh, absolutely. I still think it's. And I'm gonna say this. I haven't played it in a hot minute. Okay, so if I'm wrong, don't smack me too hard at least. But I think it probably still holds up. I want to say it probably still holds up. Even control wise, I don't feel like it had very clunky controls when I played it within the past. I want to say like 2 years, but has been a minute, so I could be deadly wrong about this. We'll have to see.
So I played it in 2020, so I'm not much better on that than you are, but I will say there were a couple of points that felt a little clunky, but overall it was fine.
Nice.
You mentioned that it is a little bit of a bummer that it's not a like remake of the game and it's just a port.
Yeah.
But we did see what they did to the Grand Theft Auto 3 and the other San Andreas and Vice City remasters last year. So
Yep.
in a way, I feel
right
like
about
you could be thanking them that they didn't remaster it.
Thank you for not trying to make my game better, Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that is true.
Thank you for just letting it be what it is.
Yeah.
Last Tuesday, we went and saw the Barbie movie.
How was it, Craig?
Hell, this movie's so much better than it has any right to be.
Oh, wow, that's surprising to hear.
It's incredible.
Wow.
The humor in that movie completely nails it. It does so much to play with like the stereotypes of Barbie, the history of Barbie, and like just a really solid plot for the movie. It got very existential at times, and I didn't love that personally, but like the movie had something to say beyond Barbie. And
interesting.
It was like I said, the humor really tied it all together very nicely. Will Ferrell is in it, and he's absolutely great. Yeah. Ryan Gosling, I think I have a crush on him after seeing this movie. And the true star of the film, though, is Michael Cera.
Oh my god, I forgot he was in it.
Yep, Michael Cera plays Alan, and his entire presence throughout the movie is just so good.
That's great.
I feel like there have been some people that trash talk Michael Cera and his comedic stylings for a while, but he was the perfect person for that role. And just so good, like just the perfect like punch in line that just made you laugh, you know?
That's good. Now, Greg, I gotta ask, did you do the Barbenheimer double feature?
No, I didn't. Oppenheimer's a movie that maybe if it comes out, or when it comes out to stream, I might check it out with the ability to put it down if I get too much existential dread.
Yep.
So that's where I stand with that. We just went for Barbie. It was great because at the theater around here, it's Tuesdays are like the like discount night, So it's like $6.50 for tickets.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good deal. Tomorrow we're going to see the new Ninja Turtles movie because 2023 is the year of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for me.
Nice.
I saw it, or I saw the like poster for it while we were at the theater for Barbie, and I was like, you know what? Played the game, read some of the comic books. Now it's time to watch the movie.
I know. I might have to check out that one too.
Yeah, I'm excited. Watching it tomorrow. We'll see what I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else you want to talk about, Greg?
I have to come on this podcast and declare a great victory.
Oh.
Over the weekend, we went and played mini golf at the second of the places down this way. There are two in Auburn, Turner area, and I was victorious.
Nice.
I came close to shooting par for the course. Actually, I had a pretty good day of mini golf. All my putts were falling.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after that, we went to the batting cages, and I remembered that I was never good at hitting a baseball.
Well,
real bad at it.
At least you're good at golf.
I took like 12 pitches. So I started in Little League speed just to like warm up, you know? And I was like, you know what? This isn't going to go well, but let's see how I do against the fast speed of the baseball pitching. I fouled a couple off on fast speed and immediately went back down to Little League, and that's where I remained for the remainder of my my quarters.
Nice.
I can hit about 45 miles an hour. Once it gets over 45, too much.
Nice. Greg, before we end this podcast, can I hit you with the per mic again?
I would very much appreciate that.
Nice.
I tell you what, Caleb, Rode makes a good microphone.
Oh, that's good.
Rode makes a good microphone. I don't. We're not sponsored. I don't use a Rode mic, but
you would if they sent you one.
I would if they sent me one. And also, any microphone that picks up the nice, relaxed purrs of a cat that good has my seal of approval.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Caleb, you got anything else to say to the people?
I think the cat said it for me.
I think, yeah, you're right. So, if you like this episode, let us know. I've got an email address, greg@pintandclick.com. Tell us what you're thinking about Baldur's Gate 3, or maybe your favorite video game or your favorite arcade bar stories. Like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast, review the podcast, do the podcast things, tell a friend.
Obey the podcast.
Obey. Can we make a podcast or like the Obey, that logo, the Obey logo that was like a big not propaganda, but like pop culture thing.
Yep.
Before you were born. Yeah. And pintandclick.com for all of your website content needs.
Yep.
And I think that's about it.
Greg, you missed one.
What's up?
What do you think about the per cam, the per mic? Let us know. Let us know. Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll get another cat on. Maybe a different cat.
Oh my goodness!
What?
Oh my gosh!
You know, my big boy Leonard, he's got a real deep purr. So if you want to hear that, you got to make Leonard purr. So
oh, hold on.
That means clicking the subscribe button.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until next week on the Purr and Click podcast. I'm gonna go find cats to smuggle into my apartment so we can get this purr content really going strong.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been episode 24 of the Pint and Click podcast.
Farewell.
Goodbye. Holy shit, we made one.
Oh man.
Holy shit, we made one.
Oh man.
Wow.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh man, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. Those purrs sounded crisp in my headphones.
Yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying.
If I could listen to that for an hour, some ASMR. We're dipping into that territory. I'm gonna get one of those mics with the two ears on it. I'm gonna put a cat on both ends. Rattle my brain.
Right.
Hey, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, except for the middle one, my neighbor felt like blaring music.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's gonna be an editing nightmare.
Well, fill it in with some white noise. Have some deafening sounds of Vietnam footage play over it.
I think I'm just gonna let noise reduction do its best on that, and maybe kill myself.
Yeah, yep. That's the only option, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I gotta go eat some dinner.
Yeah, I gotta go play some Baldur's
Dude,
Gate.
go bald that gate, dude.
I'll Baldur your gate. I tell you what.
Oh wait, hold
Nice.
on. Oh fuck me.
Little yawn mic over there.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
Yeah.
I did not download this episode yet,